Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Take two. You didn't see take one because the camera I'm using is not a movie camera, but a still camera that I put in video mode, and it eats battery power. So, moving along, speaking of cameras, camera collection. I'm not doing the CD collection because it's too large and I have to figure out how to actually cover it all and with the limited amount of power and time I have available. So we're going to do the camera collection. So we're going to start off with cameras. And this camera right here, a Kodak Extra camera. This is a little Kodak camera that what you would do is you would load a little cartridge in here. It would go across here. This would advance you to the next frame. I would take the picture and you could see in here how many you had left. And there was your viewfinder. I had this back when I was little, and I mean real. This is like my first camera ever right here. Because these are cheap, the film was cheap, and I wanted a camera. I wanted my own camera. And the reason I wanted my own camera is my older sister, she had her own camera, which was the same kind as this, but it was smaller. And this is smaller because there's a couple of years difference in them. And besides, she bedazzled the crap out of hers. But it functions basically the same way. Very similar. In fact, they're almost identical except for the size. But they take the same type of film. They would take the same type of film. Yeah, there we go. Same type of film. And I think, yeah. And the reason we got these is, like I said, they were just really ridiculously simple. And I keep knocking my tripod. But here's another one. And this one is a more higher end version. It's got a lens cover and everything. It had a yeah, this is an Instamatic. These are actually Instamatics. Is the actual line. The pocket camera. But this one has film in it. I'm not pulling it out because I may be able to find a way to get this stuff developed at some point. But yeah, you would advance with this little lever, look through the viewfinder, and pop. And they were this is what is referred to as a dual lens, as a viewfinder. Is a dual lens setup where you had the viewfinder and the actual camera lens. They were off. And that was actually a fairly common way of doing things for years. I mean, this was after the Instamatics of the 80s. We had the little disposable, not disposable, but pocket cameras. Again, my camera that I got in the mid 90s. And then we have my sister's camera that she got in the early 90s. Of course, she has, at least I think she got it in the early 90s, late 80s, I don't know. Of course, I may be mixing up the dates for these things, but I don't really remember. I was too young to really care. If it wasn't G.I. Joes and Ninja Turtles, I didn't care. But anyway, flash and everything, and I keep knocking the camera. I'm trying to do both at the same time. Yeah, this was the you'd load the cartridge in here, and you'd look through your viewfinder and take your picture. And again, the same setup as before. You have the viewfinder, you have the light sensor, which determined whether or not the flash would come on or not. Then you have your camera lens. Yeah. But mine was, hers was Polaroid instant pictures. Mine was 35mm. But it had 3 lens settings. It could do panoramics. Very cool. Very cool. And also, it used what was called Advantex film, which was not just your standard 35mm film spool, because it was a little more advanced, because it could digitally tell you how many pictures you had left. kind of good. Now this one over here, this was my mother's camera from about the same vintage as those, and but it was a standard 35 millimeter camera with the big spools, and you pull it over. But it was also, and it had automatic zoom and all that stuff. Other things that were big back in the during the towards the end of the film era, the early 2000s, disposable cameras. See, this one's got a date 2005. So this is actually an old camera now, which is weird to think about, at least for me anyway. But yeah. But disposable cameras weren't actually new back then, because this is a Brownie that I bought at a where did I buy this? Bought it at an antique store, and yeah, it's a disposable camera, large format, and it had two viewfinders. You could either look down through here and take your picture this way, or you could hold it this way, and basically you had what we refer to as portrait and landscape in the photography world. And that setup of you, and there's also, now this camera is another I should be preparing a speech, but you know what? I don't care about that. I'm doing this not live, but I'm just doing it all in one take, because I don't feel like editing. Because editing is for chumps. Anyway, this is another large format camera, and you'd look down through here, and again another dual lens, the Advance. This has film in it. So whoever owned this before, they still have film in it. I don't know who owned it or when they owned it. I know this is an old. This looks really, really old, but this is probably late 60s, probably sometime in the 70s, a 70s era camera. At least as far as I know. But they produced this particular camera from the 30s into the 70s, 60s, about, from what I've done with my research. This particular company, Argus, actually, I don't even know if they're even still around or not. But I have one of these. Why? Because I thought it looked cool. Now this is a camera that I actually used personally back in the early 2000s when I was studying photography. And the reason I bought this is because, for a couple of reasons. One, it has a manual focusing ring that was actually required by the class. It is a Minatola. This is just a sticker that I put on it because I thought it was funny at the time. I called it Device. But anyway, what else was really cool about this is it has a detachable lens. And the type of camera this is what is referred to as a single lens reflex, because it's one lens. Both the viewfinder and the actual camera itself are viewed through the same lens. So yeah, there you can see the focusing. It's got manual and autofocus, and you can also control the aperture, which was required by the course. I got it lined up right. Yeah. Anyway, that's another one. Moving right along, we're going to move into the realm of film. Now, I've never actually used these cameras because by the time, I say moving on to the realm of film, we're still in film, but I mean movie film. This is one that I actually picked up fairly recently, and it is a Super 8mm film camera. I picked it up at a at another antique store. I like going to antique stores. People say, well, why would you like to go to antique stores? They're filled with junk. Because this type of stuff is there, and this is cool junk. Now, I bought this because I don't actually have any Super 8mm cameras, and they still make Super 8mm film, which is one of the reasons I wanted it. Only problem is it doesn't have the cartridge that you would mount the film into when you were ready to film it. But still, I picked it up because I like having it. The little bit of research I found out about this Calamar is that it was sometime in the mid-70s when this thing was produced. It was a budget camera for like home use, just like something you'd buy to go take film of your kids on vacation. And it is battery powered. 4 AA batteries was used to power this thing. If I had film, it would technically still work. Moving on to another film camera. This one is more complete because it has its bag, we have the camera, we even have the manual. The Mansfield Holiday Easy 2. Yeah, let's go. This could mount on either a tripod or on its little handle here. And this one is actually spring powered. So it is manual focus, like everything was a lot back then. But yeah, you would wind it up and yeah, it was spring powered. So anyway, on this side is where the see, this one actually is a standard 8mm. They don't make standard 8mm anymore. They haven't for like 40 years, 30 or 40 years or more. But yeah, you would put your this is where the empty spool would go. What you would do is you would take your film cartridge, load it here. You pull it around through here and put it on the empty, and then it would go through and expose the film. Yeah, I thought, again, I love these kind of things. I just think they're really cool. I do have, like I said, I have another. Now this is another one that I bought because, again, it was full, complete, in box. This is a standard 8, much like the Mansfield, but it's battery powered, kind of like the what was that called? The Calmar? Yeah, Calmar. But it is a Kodak. But yeah, if you'll see, this one has a cartridge that you would, because apparently back when this thing was new and bought and whatnot, you could get multiples of these, load your film in, so you didn't have to worry about, oh no, did I just break something? Oh, nope, didn't break anything. Maybe I broke it. I don't know. Well, it would never have worked again anyway. That's my excuse. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. Hold on a second. Fixed it. I fixed it. Yeah. Fixed it. See, that's another thing I love about old technology. It's easy to fix. It breaks, you fix it. Just fixed it on camera. Anyway, you load your empty cartridge in, you spool it around through here, and there was your cartridge. The good thing about standard 8 is it was double-sided, Super 8 was not, as far as I can tell. It may have been, I don't know. I never used either one. But yeah, as you can see, it also had a little handle. This thing, well, get in there. As I said, it was a battery-operated mechanism. Double A's have been around a long time. Four double A's seems to be like the standard. Even today, a lot of things are like double A's is usually like 4. Sometimes, of course, they've gone to triple A's and they're like 6 or 8 or even more. Now I have these film movie cameras, you may ask yourself, how do you play them? Well, you play them with projectors. Make sure I'm in. There we go. That thing is heavy. Anyway, this is a projector that I bought when I saw it because I had film cameras but no projector. And again, Kodak made so much stuff back then. But you would load your spools up, and this does work. I tested it out. Let me see if I can get it open and show you guys what I mean when I say it actually still works. Hold on a second. It's plugged in, and wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Come on. Here we go. See? Pretty cool, huh? Move this. Anyway, that's my camera collection. I hope, except for what we're using right now. What we're using right now is a Fuji Finepix S2000, purchased in 2009. It is an old camera. You can tell by the quality of the video that it doesn't actually do video very well. We're standard definition. We don't have HD, but the still cameras, the still portion of it is beautiful. So, but I'm still going to keep using this one, even though it eats batteries and poops out low quality video. But I don't care. It's mine. I love it. Take from it what you will. I'll be back next week with something. I don't know. You'll see.